Trump vows to impose big tariffs on products from China, Mexico and Canada. United States Special Counsel dismisses criminal cases involving Trump. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Shuhaida Arifin and you're watching World Today. Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim held a meeting with a representative of a chaebol, or a prominent figure from South Korea's conglomerates. This is as a part of efforts to attract more foreign direct investments (FDI) into Malaysia. The Prime Minister is also scheduled to hold on one-on-one meeting from 9 a.m. local time onwards with major corporations including Samsung Group, SK Nexelis, POSCO Group and Lotte International. These discussions align with Malaysia's strategy to secure high-value, high-growth investments from the Republic of Korea. Chaebols, which are family-owned conglomerates, have traditionally enjoyed close ties with the South Korean government. Federal support for these entities began after the Korean War as part of efforts to rebuild the nation's economy. A senior UN official has called on all parties involved in the conflict in Lebanon to accept a ceasefire as new Israeli strikes targeted Beirut suburbs. The violence follows top European Union diplomat Joseph Borrell calling for an immediate ceasefire on Sunday, and after a US envoy said last week that a deal was within grasp.
Regrettably, the situation remains grave across the region. Israeli military operation continued across the blue line with Lebanon, as did the firing of rockets by Hezbollah towards Israel, including a barrage this weekend. As the winter approaches, the horror in Gaza continues to grind on with no end in sight.
UN Security Council Resolution 1701 ended the 2006 war between Israel and Hezbollah and stipulates that only UN peacekeeping forces and the Lebanese army can be deployed in southern Lebanon. It was reported that the parties now were close to a deal that would involve a 60-day transition period in which the Israeli army would pull back and the Lebanese army would redeploy near the border and Hezbollah would withdraw its heavy weapons north of the Lithuania River. The draft agreement also provides for the establishment of a US-led committee to oversee implementation. Israel's occupation forces launched air attacks across Lebanon on Monday, unleashing explosions throughout the country and killing at least a dozen of people, even as officials claim they were nearing an agreement on a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. Israeli attacks hit commercial and residential buildings in Beirut, as well as in the port city of Tyre, where 12 people were killed, adding to the more than 3,700 people in Lebanon who have been killed by Israeli attacks in this two-month war. It was reported that Israeli attacks across Lebanon in recent days were more powerful, more destructive, more frequent and happening more often without warning, leaving people no time to get out of the way of Israeli missiles and drones. The barrages came as the Israeli ambassador to the United States, Mike Herzog, said a ceasefire deal to end the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah could be reached within days. Now in Beirut, Ilyas Bossab, Lebanon's deputy parliament speaker, also said that there were no serious obstacles left to start implementing a US proposed ceasefire with Israel unless Netanyahu changes his mind. US President-elect Donald Trump said he intends to impose sweeping tariffs on goods from Mexico, Canada and China in response to illegal drug trade and immigration. In a series of posts to his Truth Social account, Trump vowed to hit some of the United States' largest trading partners with sweeping tariffs on all goods entering the country. In another post, Trump said he would also be slapping China with a 10% tariff, above any additional tariffs on all of its products entering the US in response to what he said was its failure to tackle fentanyl smuggling. Tariffs are a key part of Trump's economic agenda, with the Republican president-elect vowing wide-ranging duties on allies and adversaries alike. By citing the fentanyl crisis and illegal immigration, Trump appeared to be using national security concerns as a means to break the deal, something that is allowed under the rules set by the World Trade Organization. The EU ambassador to the United States on Friday said that Europe would be ready to respond in case of renewed frictions with the US over trade. Shortly after Trump's victory, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum reassured her citizens that Trump's return was no cause for concern despite the virulent trade threats. Meanwhile, United States Special Counsel Jack Smith has moved to dismiss the two criminal cases accusing Trump of seeking to overturn his 2020 election defeat and mishandling secret government documents. In a court filing in the election interference case, prosecutors on Monday cited Trump's return to the White House after his successful 2024 re-election campaign and a long-standing Department of Justice policy not to prosecute citing precedents. They said the department had reasoned that Trump's prosecution must be dismissed before his inauguration on 20th January next year. The move represents a remarkable shift by the special prosecutor, who obtained indictments against Trump in two cases, accusing him of crimes that threaten U.S. election integrity and national security. The later case deals with the alleged mishandling of secret government documents. Separately, on Monday, prosecutors also announced that they were dropping their appeal of a federal judge's dismissal earlier this year of the classified documents case, delivering another victory to Trump and his incoming administration. Left-wing politician Yamandou Orsi was elected president of Uruguay, official results showed on Sunday, in a rebuke by voters of 5 years of conservative rule. Orsi promised in a victory speech on Sunday evening to be a president who calls again and again for national dialogue to find the best solutions. Delgado, meanwhile, conceded defeat, saying he was sending a big hug and a greeting to Orsi. Though the election will shift the balance of power in Uruguay, analysts did not foresee a massive change in the country's economic direction, with Orsi having previously promised change that will not be radical. Both candidates pledged to fight crime linked to drug trafficking and to boost economic growth, which is recovering from the slowdown brought by the COVID-19 pandemic and a historic drought. Orsi won 1,196,798 votes, compared to Delgado's 1,101,296. Orsi's victory will see Uruguay swing left again after 5 years of center-right rule in the country of 3.4 million inhabitants. Killed, including 4-year-old children in bus accident in Brazil. Stay tuned. More than 40,000 people have fled their homes in Port-au-Prince over just 10 days this month as the Haitian capital was rocked by a spike in gang violence. The International Organization for Migration described it as the worst wave of displacement in 2 years, with a total of 40,965 people in Port-au-Prince on the move between 11th to 20th November, some for the second or third time. Gregoire Goodstein, the IOM chief in Haiti, said the scale of the displacement is unprecedented since they began responding to the humanitarian crisis in 2022. For the past 2 weeks, several neighborhoods of the Port-au-Prince and the surroundings area have been the sites of violent clashes involving Vinasam, an alliance of gangs formed in February aimed at overthrowing then Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who resigned in April. Now, in total, over 700,000 people have been displaced in Haiti. Haiti has suffered from political instability for decades, with the latest security crisis linked to the presence of armed gangs that are accused of widespread murder, kidnapping and sexual violence. A DHL cargo plane flying from Germany to Lithuania crashed early Monday near the airport of the capital Vilnius, killing one person. Renatas Pozella, Lithuania head of the Firefighting and Emergency Services Unit, said the plane was due to land in Vilnius airport and crashed a few kilometers away. A house caught fire during a crash in an unclear circumstances. Vilmantas Vikauskas, the head of the National Crisis Management Center, said all the people inside the house had been evacuated. DHL official Osra Rutskoskin confirmed the plane belonged to the company. Germany's foreign minister said on Monday that the deadly crash of the cargo plane could have been an accident or a hybrid incident with outside involvement. The term hybrid is commonly used to describe attacks that do not use conventional military tactics, such as sabotaging infrastructure or launching cyber attacks. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, European countries have often used the term to describe actions against them that they believe originate from Moscow. Lithuanian authorities have so far stopped short of linking Monday's crash to recent suspected cases of sabotage. Spanish Coast Guard rescued on Monday 84 migrants off the Canary Island of El Hierro. The wooden boat was located 10 miles away of El Hierro and it was towed to the port of La Restinga while tourists looked astonished as the vessel was docking and migrants disembarked. The Canaries have registered the fastest increase in arrivals by sea in the European Union this year. According to Spain's Interior Ministry, by 15 November, they had received a total of 39,713 migrants, 23% more than in the same period last year. Now this year, El Hierro, which accepts no direct flights from outside the archipelago, has received half of all irregular migrants' arrivals in the Canaries, an autonomous region of Spain. According to the Red Cross, some 19,400 illegal migrants had reached El Hierro by mid-November. 18 people died on Sunday when a bus on a remote mountain road in Brazil's northeastern Alagoas state dived into a ravine. Police were working to identify those killed and to free bodies from the wreckage of the bus, which fell into a ravine more than 20 meters deep. The bus was reported to have been carrying some 40 people up a mountain road to a historical site near the town of Unau dos Palmares when the driver lost control, apparently after a mechanical failure. The bus went off the road in an area difficult to access. In total, out of 48 victims, 16 died at the accident site, including a pregnant woman who died while being moved to a nearby hospital. The last confirmed death was a 4-year-old child who was rescued but later died in the hospital. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said on the social media platform X that his government will give all necessary support to state authorities in the assistance, care and support of the victims. He expressed condolences to the families of those involved in the accident. Alagoas State Governor Paulo Dantas declared on X 3 days of mourning over the tragedy. A Los Angeles County judge on Monday postponed a hearing over the possible release of Lyle and Eric Menendez after 35 years in prison for the shotgun murder of their parents, saying he wanted to hear from a new district attorney due to take office on 3rd December. The judge rescheduled the hearing for 30th January but still decided to hear the testimony of 2 Menendez relatives who support the release of the brothers, now 56 and 53. The brothers were meant to follow the proceeding by video linked from prison, but technical difficulties prevented them from watching, at least temporarily. Attorney Mark Garagos said he's hoping for the brothers to be released after 30th January hearing. The Menendez brothers were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of a parole after the second of two highly publicized trials for killing their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in 1989. The case captivated the US in the 1990s because of the brothers' wealth and privileges as the sons of a record company and entertainment industry executive. In Monday's hearing, defense lawyers sought to reduce their first-degree murder conviction to voluntary manslaughter, which could make them eligible for release. At least one police officer was killed and dozens of people injured in Pakistan as the supporters of jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan clashed with security forces outside the capital, Islamabad. Authorities enforced a security lockdown for the past 2 days in the country after Khan called for the March on Parliament and a sit-in to demand his release. On Monday, one police officer was shot and killed. At least 119 others were injured and 22 police vehicles were torched in clashes just outside Islamabad and elsewhere in Punjab province. Provincial Police Chief Usman Anwar said 2 officers were in critical condition. Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI party said scores of its workers have also been injured in the rally so far. Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi said those responsible for the death of the police officer would face justice. The protest march, which Khan has described as the final call, is one of many his party has held to seek his release since he was jailed in August last year. Officials and witnesses said all public transport between cities and terminals had also been shut down in the eastern province to keep away the protesters, and gatherings in Islamabad have been banned. Up next in sports, Ronaldo nets a brace for Al Nassr in 3-1 win over Al Ghafra. Stay tuned. Kicking off our sports segment this afternoon, Real Madrid forward Vinicius Jr. will miss his side's Champions League clash at Liverpool on Thursday after sustaining a leg muscle injury in their 3-0 La Liga win at Leganés at the weekend. Sources close to the player said that Vinicius is expected to be sidelined from 3 to 4 weeks. It means he could miss up to 7 games in all competitions before the winter break, including against Girona and Athletic Bilbao in La Liga and Champions League visit to Atlanta. Real Madrid said in a statement following tests carried out yesterday on Vinicius by the Real Madrid Medical Services, he has been diagnosed with an injury to the bicep femoris in his left leg, pending evolution. Vinicius is the latest to join the club's lengthy injury list, which includes key players like Rodrigo, Eder Militao, Dani Carvajal, Lucas Vazquez, Aurelio Tchouameni and David Alaba. Real are second in the La Liga standings on 30 points, 4 behind Barcelona, who drew 2-2 with Celta Vigo on Saturday. However, after 2 losses in the last 3 games in the Champions League, Carlo Ancelotti's side could be in trouble with a bad result at Anfield. They are 18th in the 36-team table with 6 points from 4 games. Cristiano Ronaldo struck twice for Al Nassr as they continued to thrive in the AFC Champions League elite, with the Saudi champions defeating Al Gharafa 3-1 in Qatar early this morning. The 39-year-old's contributions moved Al Nassr nearer to the last 8, needing just 2 points from their final 3 group games. Al Nassr captain Ronaldo had looked destined to endure a hugely frustrating game following a series of missed opportunities in the first half at Al Bayt Stadium. However, the Portugal star finally opened the scoring little more than 50 seconds into the second half when he headed home Sultan Al Ghanam's cross from close range. Al Nassr then doubled their advantage through Angelo Gabriel, a summer signing from Chelsea, on 58 minutes, before the Brazilian turned provider 6 minutes later to tee up Ronaldo for his second. The goal took the former Manchester United, Real Madrid and Juventus forward to 4 goals in the season's rebranded competition before he was replaced on 74 minutes. Algarafa did pull one back through Joselu, a former teammate of Ronaldo at Madrid. Yet their hopes of an unlikely late rally disappeared when Seydou Sano was sent off 6 minutes from the end of the normal time for a second bookable offence. The win ensures Al Nassr remain unbeaten through 5 matches in the western side of the draw and move second in the 12-team table. Earlier in UAE, Ivan Toney came off the bench to score twice and in Premier League news, West Ham produced a clinical away performance to beat resurgent Newcastle 2-0 on Monday, easing the pressure on beloved manager Julen Lopetegui. Thomas Souček headed the visitors in from against the run of a play at St James Park, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka grabbed a rare goal in the second half to double the Hammers' lead. Newcastle were unable to capitalise on the chances they created, failing to build on the momentum created by recent wins against Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. The result, only West Ham's second win on the road this season, lifts them to 15 points, just 3 behind 10th place Newcastle, who missed out on the chance to move into the top 6. It will be a huge relief for Lopetegui, whose future has been a matter of mounting speculation just months after he replaced David Moyes. On to European football, Manchester City players have to be completely committed to the club's cause. Manager Pep Guardiola said this on the eve of the Champions League clash against visitors Feyenoord, as his struggling team looks to end a dreadful run of results. City's losing streak stretched to 5 matches when Tottenham Hotspur stunned the Premier League champions with a 4-0 win at the Etihad on Saturday. It was the first time Guardiola had lost 5 games in a row in his managerial career. It was also the first time they had lost 5 consecutive matches in all competitions since April 2006. The defeat left the second-place City 8 points adrift of Liverpool, who they visit on Sunday. Their campaign has been hindered by a rash of injuries, with Ballon d'Or winner Rodri, centre-back Ruben Dias, midfielder Mateo Kovacic, plus wingers Jeremy Doku and Oscar Bob among those facing spells on the sidelines.
I had the feeling that this season will do a very, very good things. I don't give up, and I have the feeling that we will be there. And it's happened, because the human beings can happen.
Guardiola, who signed a 2-year contract extension at City last week, has led them to 18 major trophies, including 6 Premier League titles and 1 Champions League crown. With his contract expiring in 2025, midfielder Kevin De Bruyne said he did not know about his future at City as he continues his return to full fitness. Formula One has reached an agreement in principle with General Motors to support GM Cadillac, becoming the sport's 11th team in 2026. Liberty Media-owned F1 said it had maintained a dialogue with General Motors and its partners at TWG Global regarding the viability of an entry following a commercial assessment and decision made by Formula One in January. GM officials reportedly attended the Las Vegas Grand Prix at the weekend to discuss a potential deal with F1 and Liberty Media after months of speculation. FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem expressed full support for the latest development. Mario Andretti, the last American F1 champion in 1978, will serve as a director on the team's board. Liberty Media had ruled out an Andretti bid in January, doubting it would be competitive or add value, but kept a door open for 2028 when GM would be able to provide an engine. The U.S. House of Representatives Judiciary Committee launched an investigation into possible anti-competitive conduct. The landscape has since changed, with Michael Andretti, a former F1 racer and 1991 kart champion, as well as being son of 1978 F1 champion Mario, announcing in September he was taking a step back from his day-to-day operational role in Andretti Global. China's Ding Liren beat teenager Gukesh Dommaraju of India in the opening round of the World Chess Champions in a major confidence boost for the title holder on Monday. Ding, whose form has plummeted since he beat Russian Ian Nepomniachtchi to claim the crown in 2023, lost in the Chess Olympiad international team event in September and has taken unusually long breaks for a top player in a bid to improve. Ding's victory marked the first time in almost 15 years that the initial game of a World Championship match ended with a decisive result, as the high stakes of the event often encourage players to opt for cautious games, usually ending up as draws. The last decisive result in a World Championship first-round match was in 2010 when Vasilin Topalov beat Viswanathan Anand. The match between Ding and 18-year-old Gukesh, who qualified by winning the candidates tournament in April, is a 14-round event in Singapore with a prize fund of $2.5 million. World number one Magnus Carlsen, who had been world champion since 2013, relinquished his title in 2022, citing a lack of motivation. And that's it from us this afternoon in our top story. Trump vows to impose big tariffs on products from China, Mexico and Canada. Do join us again this evening on TV1 in Southern Berita RTM for more news. Alternatively, you can catch us on RTM Click's website and mobile app. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin from River to the Sea. Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching and may you have a wonderful day ahead.